So I want to talk for a minute today about one of the biggest mistakes that I think companies are making when it comes to adopting 3D. And that's that they're not thinking big enough about how 3D should be implemented across their organization. They're thinking, first we design our materials digitally, we scan them or we create them in something like Adobe Substance. Then we'll pick our 3D creation program, whether that's Clo or Browseware, KeyShot, Moto, AutoCAD, whatever that might be for your organization. And then we'll think more about some of those downstream end use cases. But what's happening is you're missing out on the full value of 3D. And I'm gonna use a slightly imperfect analogy here, but I think it's very relevant. And that's, imagine using Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word gives you the ability to write things down, edit them, and then get feedback and track changes from multiple users, both within your organization and without your organization. So imagine drafting a contract. You're gonna get input from the other party, their attorneys, other internal stakeholders, or a blog post. You might write something and send it to your boss for approval. They're gonna have changes. Track changes are invaluable. We can't imagine working today without being able to do that. But what's happening in 3D today is, imagine having Microsoft Word, printing out a draft, sending it to someone, having them manually mark it up, and then send it back to you, printed. It doesn't make any sense. You're missing out on all the value that's there. And the same thing is happening with 3D. So organizations are like, we've adopted 3D, but what's happening is they're sharing 2D renders with vendors, with people inside their organization, with B2B buyers, and the feedback is coming back in a 2D format. So you're missing on the entire value of 3D, of being able to rotate objects, add very specific annotations where they need to go, and really get that more immersive experience that's better for buying and better for just understanding the product generally. One of the biggest values of 3D is not just in increasing conversion rates or reducing returns or some of those downstream use cases, but it's in collaboration. It empowers people to understand products in such a more robust way, to iterate so much more quickly and make better decisions, product and design decisions, than they've been able to make previously. But you're missing out on that value if you don't have the infrastructure to share those 3D assets internally and externally. So I really encourage companies who are looking at adopting 3D or in the process of doing that to think about what value might it have in your organization if everyone in your organization had access to the 3D model, if everyone could leave feedback, if everyone could say, this is what I'd like to see, these are the changes that I'd like to make, here are some suggestions for it. What effect would that have on your organization? What effect would that have with your customers if you were able to share interactive 3D models with them? It's food for thought and a really important thing that I think customers need to be considering more when they're adopting 3D.